guys, I am happy to introduce you on our webinar. Today we will talk about Welkin suite, about Salesforce development, administration tasks. We will cover a lot of things, so I hope you're ready and listening. My name is Rustam Nurgudin. I'm CEO of the Welkin suite, and we will make this webinar together with my colleague Vladimir.
Hello guys.
Vladimir is our head of product and the best Welkin suite guru in this world. Okay, a few words why you are listening to us today. I would like to say a few words about us and our company and our project. The Welkin suite was established for our parent company Subsim, for our Salesforce development team. A few years ago, we started a Salesforce development team and realized that we do not have appropriate tool to satisfy our developers' needs. And we established the Welkin suite, and right now it is one of the best IDE all over the world. No, it's the best Salesforce IDE tool, and we created it because we are communicating with our team, we communicated with our users. Right now, thousands of developers all over the world changed their life. They use the Welkin suite, and they are really productive and really happy during their Salesforce development. But why it's happened? Why they changed their life when they're using the Welkin suite? Because Welkin suite are a real time saver. So we help to save up to 30% of developers and admins' time during their day-to-day tasks. We gathered all the needed actions in one tool, and right now you don't need to switch between different applications, and you can work the whole day, do all your tasks in one tool, and this tool is the Welkin suite. Next point is unification. One tool in Salesforce world right now that can provide you with the developers and administration aspects of the work. So right now, admins and developers can work within one tool and do not have any problems with the synchronization of their job, with the knowledge transfer, so on and so forth. The whole team, one tool, great experience. Optimize the UX. I would like to say a bit more on this item, because from the first day we focused on the optimization of user experience. We really love our users, we love developers and admins, and hate the situations when they have to spend extra time just for some kind of monkey work. That's completely unacceptable situation. We optimize it, development and admins experience. We customize the UI to allow you to accomplish your jobs with different ways, integrate one model to another, implement this with a great performance. So the optimization of UX is one of our main points.
I believe it's much better to show this to our guys and to explain this in details and just highlight it in real life in the Welkin suite instead of showing just a presentation.
Yes, sure. Volodya, could you please start?
Okay, so I hope that you can see my screen now and that you can see also the Welkin suite ID on the screen. So I'm showing you the Windows version. At the same time, we have the Mac version as well. And in general, it's like 95% the same functionality and the same idea. So I will start from the main idea. As Rustam said, we've gathered everything that you might need in your daily tasks for Salesforce development and administering in the same place. For example, right now I have an open project and I have a lot of information on the same screen. Let's just see it. So I have a Solution Explorer where I see all of my files included in the project. I have my Apex editor on the screen. I have the admin panel which shows me all of my S objects and a lot of other information. I'll just show it later. We have all the previous test runs of the organization, so we don't need to switch to browser, we don't need to go anywhere, we have them right here. We have the Salesforce DX Organizations Manager, so instead of working with the command line, you just have all the stuff in the organization, in the IDE. We have PMD report, we have Writing Bundles Explorer, we have code coverage information with all the details for code coverage. We have the debug logs, we have scheduled jobs list. A lot of different stuff is available right here, and a lot of actions you're able to do right from here from the IDE. And also there is a couple more panels which are not relevant for me right now. but in case if you need them, it's just like 2 clicks to add any panel to your current layout.
Yes, that's all this is right, but we are performing getting started webinar, and so our guys, just imagine that our listeners just downloaded the Welkin suite and started working. So what they will see from the first time?
No problem. So we'll get back to this situation in just a minute, I believe. So I will close my current project, and this is how you will see the Welkin suite once you download it. Empty. It's not a problem. So I go to the file, new project, select Salesforce project and name it somehow. I don't know.
Could you please say a few words about types of projects that we have here?
So we also support the Salesforce Wave Analytics project here. If you want to work with it, we of course support Salesforce DX and provide you separate project type for working with Salesforce DX, and the regular Salesforce project to connect with your sandboxes, development environments, and production organizations. So I will work with my production environment and I will create a new project for it.
Okay.
I will name it like Webinar for India. I don't know like any funny names here, so I'll press OK. I don't remember my password, so I need to enter my credentials, but yeah, I don't remember the password. So I just use allows. It's production environment. I press next, and the IDE directs me to the browser where I need to enter my credentials. Thankfully, I have here an extension to fill in the password. Just press login, wait for, let's say, 10 seconds, and get back to the IDE. At this moment, the IDE checks your organization and finds all the metadata components that you are able to download from the organization. In my case, I'm using the developer preset, so everything from Apex, Lightning, Visualforce, S-Objects, and static resources will be downloaded. At the same time, I can use admin preset if I'm working more on the point-and-click part. And here you have approval processes, workflows, dashboards, reports, email templates, and all the other stuff. But I'll get back to the developer preset. I press next, next once more, and at this moment the IDE downloads the project to your local machine. Unlike some other tools for Salesforce development, we are doing this very quickly. So I believe in less than 20 seconds, I will get the project on my machine. By the way, in the meantime, we'll launch a very small poll. If you don't mind, please spend 5 seconds answering on it. Okay, thank you very much, guys. And we are getting back to the IDE, and you can see that we have project just arrived, and I press finish. And the picture starts to look familiar to what we've seen at the beginning of this webinar. So I have some of the panels empty, but I have the Solution Explorer, which shows me my components. Let's see it here. So like in any other tool, in general, we show you the same project structure, like Aura folder, classes folder with a bunch of classes, objects, pages, so everything is very familiar to you. However, at the same time, the Welkin suite is very unique IDE, because one of the first features we've done 3 years ago was to allow you to create custom folders, to create custom project structure, and to organize everything in the way you like.
What is the reason to create a custom folder structure? Nobody created this feature, but why we did this?
Because you see, this is my pretty simple and not very complex demo organization, and I already have about like 80 classes here. And for my demo purposes, I will need about 5 of them. So instead of like storing here and there, I can do this very quickly. I right-click on the project, select Add, New Folder, and call it Demo. Then I go to the classes, and I will find a couple classes that I need. I need the dummy class, and I also need the method calls class. I select both of them, and just drag and drop them to the demo folder. At the same time, I will need the account, and maybe some random Visualforce page. So you see, in the same folder, I've mixed up the different types of files. For example, in your real tasks, it's very common situation for our teams, for our users, to group things together. For example, if you're working with Visualforce, you might want to have your Visualforce page with its controller, with some of its extensions, maybe some of the related components, unit tests, and even static resources, all of this in the same folder. So instead of going here and there when working on the same page, you'll get everything like 5 or 6 files in a small folder, and you don't need to work with anything else. You just save your time. Instead of like clicking and scrolling here, you open the files right in the same folder. Another thing here is static resources. So in the Welkin Suite IDE, all of the static resources are always unzipped. So you don't need to do anything to work with them. For example, I have a jQuery UI plugin or static resource. I can open any CSS file, do any changes in it, press F5, and the IDE will zip it instead of me, and will send it to Salesforce. So I don't care about archiving it. I just do my job.
Yes, by the way, it was a long story when we added the feature to add files here. So please show our guys how to add files to the static resources.
Yeah, we've just released a couple of weeks ago a new feature that called Static Resource Bundles Explorer. So if you have lots of static resources, you can analyze all of them right here in the separate panel. For example, you can see I have some random folder here. If I want to add a new file to this folder, I can just right-click on it, click and select Add Existing File. In this case, I just select any random files that I want to add to that folder, and that's it. It's here, it's in my static resource. I don't need to go to Salesforce UI, download the static resource, manually add the files there and upload it back.
Actually, great. What are the types of files we support here? Could you please show for guys?
Of course. So we support everything that is related to Apex, controllers, triggers. We support everything that is related to Visual Force, like your pages, components. Lightning is, of course, supported. And we also support, of course, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I will show it a bit later because we are pretty proud of how we support them. And in addition to this, we support different like XML-based metadata like objects, validations, workflows, reports, emails, and a bunch of them.
Correct me if I'm wrong. We support everything needed in Salesforce development.
All the most important and most essential stuff is here. Some of the like very rarely used like metadata types are not kind of supported because it's very rare cases when you need them.
Okay, great. So what we will show next time?
I will show Apex because it's the main part for
okay, let's start.
For most of us. So what we can see here, once I open any Apex file, you can see our editor for Apex. We have our own code completion. We have built our own local code completion with parser, lexer, and everything that's needed here. What does this mean? This means that if, for example, I start typing in my Apex editor and declare a new variable, right here on the next line, immediately I will see this variable. I don't need to send this code to Salesforce. I won't have the like ugly delays. Everything is working immediately. Once I select this variable, press dot, I will see all of its fields. So in my case, it's a custom as object. I see all of its standard and custom fields. And as well, I can see all of the methods which are inherited from the standard as object class. So I don't need to remember all of these fields. I don't need to remember how to write them. I just see this from the code completion.
And please pay attention how quickly they appear comparing these competitive tools. So our code completion is quick and reliable.
Yeah, and what's very important here is that Salesforce is always developing, it's always adding new stuff to Apex, for example. Some of us are still learning new stuff in Salesforce. So it's very easy to do with the Welkin Suite because we support all of the standard Apex namespaces, classes, methods, objects. We know everything about them. So once you press system dot, you see all of the methods which are provided by this namespace. You can see all of the classes, and for all of them, you see the description and details. So you don't need to go to documentation. You see everything right here in the IDE. So it's a great time saver, and it's a great way to learn Apex much easier in the IDE directly. By the way, also on the left side of the editor, you can see our class outline, which helps you to navigate in huge files. In case if you have lots of files which are like 1,000 lines of code and more, you can see all of their properties, fields, methods, contracts, constructors, inner classes. All of this is shown here, and you can very easily navigate to any of them.
Yeah, great stuff. By the way, I could see some kind of icons at the left part of the Apex editor. Could you please describe what's this? What's this green stuff? Yeah.
This one's okay. So as like we've said in the beginning, we are an IDE, so everything is integrated together. We don't have a separate text editor, you don't have separate test results window or page, everything is together. So in case if the IDE detects that in your class you have some test methods, right here in the editor we will show you the latest test results for these test methods. So in my case you can see I have one method which have failed some time ago. It have failed just 2 hours ago. And like you know, I'm being a good developer, I'd like to fix it.
It would be great.
Okay, so what I will do here, I navigate to test results panel, see this test class, and when I select this failed test method, in the lower part of the test results panel, I see the details from Salesforce, like message, stack trace, and also I have an option to open a log file directly from the IDE. So once I press this button, the IDE will go to organization, download the file, and will show it for you. Again, you don't need to worry about this. We'll do this all for you. Once we open any log file, you can see it. It's like log viewer is separated into 2 parts. Upper part shows you the hierarchy, like tree view execution flow. So if you're working with complex environments, if you have lots of triggers, handlers, nested calls, in this case, it's very easy to find something needed or interesting in the hierarchy view, select it, and the IDE will direct you to this line in the regular text view. If you don't need this anymore, or if you don't need this in your case, you can switch back to the regular text view and you can analyze your debug log. But it's very easy to do here because we have some color highlighting for different types of events. So you can see that system, like user debug methods or entries, are colored in green. And I also can see something red here. So as you might guess, we have exceptions colored in red color. So you won't miss them even in like 500 lines log file. I've spotted this exception using the code map feature on the right side of the viewer. And here, yeah,
if needed, you can just easy filter exception messages.
Of course, and you also are able to filter the debug log messages not in the like show only user debug messages, but you can show only error messages, or you can do this in details. So you can select what types of messages you'd like to see in the debug log viewer. And here's one of my really favorite features because it saves me and all our developers at least, I'd say, half an hour every day when we are debugging something, where we are troubleshooting some issues on production environments or on our customers' environments. In the debug log file, I can very easily navigate directly to the line in the code which have produced it. How can I do this? Just right-click on any line. Just right-click on any line, and here will be the go-to source. It's not available here because it's an old log file. So what I will do here, I'll go to the debug logs panel, and I will rerun this test run once more. By the way, you can see that we have a very easy option to rerun the unit tests. So instead of, again, selecting the classes, selecting the methods, I just right-click on the previous run and select to rerun only failed tests. So again, this will save me like a couple minutes on the highly loaded organization. By the way, as we are going, the test run is executing, and we see the results in the real time in the IDE.
And IDE is not frozen right now. You can proceed with the development because all the streams are run in parallel. So you shouldn't spend the time just for waiting the results of the unit test, but you can proceed to something.
Okay, so once I navigate to the entry in the debug log which have produced this, to the entry in the code which have produced this issue, what I can do here. In regular case, I can examine the code on my own with my eyes, see like how it works, go step by step. Instead, I can just set a breakpoint on the interesting line for me. Okay, give me a second. Nope. Method goes. So I can just right-click on any unit test method in the code and select the option to debug unit test. What does this mean? We have built our own debugger, which doesn't require you to pay anything to Salesforce. So it doesn't require you any license from Salesforce. It doesn't require you to purchase anything, to enable any features in the IDE. It just allows you to debug your code in like very easy manner and way. Okay, and give me one more second.
Yep. As you can see, you have a lot of possibilities to debug. So you can see the log files in the different ways. You could start debugging using these log files. In context of this, Welkin suite is oriented to allow you to find issues very quickly with any possible way till we are resolving the technical issues. You just can know that the tool that is used here, similar by their power with Microsoft Windows, and because just Microsoft Windows and Welkin suite on the presentation can face with the problems similar way. Okay, guys, so Volodya, are you ready?
Give me a second, one more.
Okay. So the next thing that we would like to show you, it will be lighting experience that is integrated into the our application.
But not only lighting, but Visualforce as well.
Yep, of course. So because we have one of the unique stuff that is integrated into our tool is the possibility to code complete for Apex and Visualforce. But for now, please proceed with the debug.
Yeah. So I'm in the debug mode. Sorry for the delay. I'm in the debug mode, and what information I can get here? I can go step by step through my execution flow, and here I have a couple of very handy panels on the lower part of the screen. I have the locals panel, which will show me all my variables and their values, which is absolutely handy and must-have experience for debugging and resolving issues. So you can see that I have variable I with value now. I can see some object of type dummy class with some of the fields. At the same time, I can see the code stack, which is not very handy in my situation. But in addition, I can show governor limits. I believe that all of us, being like Salesforce developers, know about governor limits, know about all the problems which they might cause to our applications. So in this case, as I go step by step through my execution flow, I can see how my governor limits are being changed. So if I found some bottleneck, if I found some issue with governor limits, it's very easy to get to it, understand what is the issue, and to fix it without wasting a lot of time. So this is a debugger, and it's really a great tool to help you troubleshoot issues, or maybe to understand how the code works and why it works the same way.
Yeah, some kind of alternative way to see the log files. Okay, so what is the next stuff? Visualforce?
Not yet. The last thing about the unit testing, it's the code coverage information. Yeah, I believe like all of us also know that we need at least 75% of code coverage to deploy something to production. So we've built in the code coverage panel in the IDE. It shows you all of your classes, but in case if you'd like to quickly increase your code coverage, you can apply a couple of filters to the panel. For example, I want to show only classes which have less than 75% coverage. Once I've done this filter, I know exactly where I need to put my attention and where I need to put my time to increase the code coverage. I can open any file here, select the Show Covering button, and I will see the details of what lines in the code are covered with unit tests and what lines are not yet covered with unit tests. So this way, I can very easily increase my code coverage or maybe increase the code quality of my unit tests and make the stuff better. Let's proceed with Visualforce, I believe.
Yep.
Okay, so once I open any Visualforce page, I can see the already familiar to you editor. What do we have here? We have absolutely great code completion for everything that is related to regular HTML stuff. So we know everything about all the HTML, HTML5 tags. For each of them, we also know everything about the attributes that they might receive, that they might specify. For example, if I'm in the div tag and if I select, let's say, style attribute and start entering some style, the code completion right here in the HTML file will suggest me all the possible CSS items. For example, let it be color. And even you can see this great color picker, which helps you to select the needed color in your CSS file. So the IDE knows everything about the CSS attributes, about the CSS properties which you might apply to any tag. At the same time, of course, we support your like so much needed Aura tags, so sorry, Apex tags. So we also know everything about the regular Visual Force tags that they provided by Salesforce. And instead of going to Salesforce documentation to get the details about these tags, you can see them right here in the IDE. So we have documentation built in the IDE, and we also know everything about the attributes which are available for each of the tags.
Nice. It seems we don't have a lot of time, but maybe we can show the Lightning with a previewer functionality. I really like it.
It will be very easy and very quick. So I've just now opened the Lightning component, and as you might know, you are not able to directly preview the Lightning component. First of all, you need to include it into some Lightning application, or maybe to add it to some kind of, I'd say, flex page, like on the account into the details page. In the IDE, we have support for this case, and you can select what application will be used to preview each component. So in my case, I have a special demo application which shows my component. It takes a couple seconds to load it here. So in the upper part of the editor, you see the preview pane with my Lightning component and how it looks like in any browser. In the lower part of the screen, you can see all of the Lightning bundle items like component, controller, render, helper, like style, everything. I'll go through step by step, and in the component item of the Lightning bundles, we as well support everything that is related to regular HTML tags. We support everything that is related to the regular Aura framework attributes or tags. For example, if I want to add new attribute, I just select it from the list. And then IDE will propose me all of the tags that I might or need to set up for this tag to be working. So again, I don't need to remember all of this. I really don't remember all of this. I just rely on the IDE, and it helps me to write my Lightning components much faster. At the same time, it's not only about the markup in the Lightning components or applications. It's also about the JavaScript and special macros. For example, if I would like to reference any method from controller inside my Lightning markup, I can do this using the c.something. And the IDE will show me the list of all methods in my controller. So again, even in this case, it helps me to select the needed method for my action in the Lightning. And the last part here in the code completion is for accessing component properties. There you are able to access them using the v variable. So if you press v dot, you see the list of all attributes of your component which you might use in your markup. Again, don't need to remember anything, see the types, see the descriptions, and just use any of them right here.
Great. What is a refresh button at the top? Shall I click it all the time?
No, of course no. So the IDE is pretty smart, and once we detect any changes in your Lightning application, we will automatically refresh the Lightning previewer with the actual result. Let me do some change here. I would like to change this bar color from kind of orange to be red. So I will go to the style. I select the color from a pick list, save the changes, press F5, and you can see that IDE will send Visual Force page, Apex class, the component, and even the static resource to the IDE. This is done because the IDE doesn't save all of your files once you send all of the files to organization once you save them. We do this in a smart and optimized way. We send them in bulk to the organization. As I'm setting a whole bunch of files, it might take about 20-30 seconds, but usually it's less than 6 seconds for a file. Once this will done, the IDE will automatically refresh the preview pane. Yep, build successful, and you can see that it took less than a second to reload the preview for the Lightning application, so I can see that my changes have applied and everything works as designed.
Great stuff. Okay, let's switch to the maybe objects.
Yep. So I have an objects folder in my Solution Explorer. Now I have one object in my demo folder. So I can open account object, right?
Sorry, Volodya, it's not the proper way to show the objects. Could you please show me in the administration type of interface? That's much more interesting and useful.
Okay, great. So yeah, guys, I've shown you all of the stuff previously for the previous 25 minutes. in the developer mode, when you've seen all the different panels related to Apex, Visual Force, Lighting. In case if you're a declarative developer, if you're working with S-objects, workflows, validations, profiles, it's a much more easier and more convenient way for you to do this in the IDE. You can go to View, select Switch IDE Layout, and select Declarative Development. After this, we'll change the layout and show you different panels in the bit another layout, so you'll see only needed information for you. In the admin panel, I press the refresh button, and I see the full list of S-objects in my organization. For each of them, for example, the account one, I can see all the fields in the list, I can see all their parameters, all their options and attributes. At the same time, I can see all the layouts for this S-object, as well as workflow rules and validation rules, and as you can see, there's only a validation rule here. But it's not only for the read-only mode. I can modify a lot of things related to the S-objects right here in the IDE. To do this, I can right-click on any object and, for example, open Field Value Security in S-object Inspector. This will lead me to the S-object tab in the editor. Let me show you it. And here in the S-object tab in the editor, I have 3 different tabs. One of them is for fields. So instead of going through 6 different pages to add one field to Salesforce, you just press Add Field here and add a new field right here in the nice graphical UI, which saves your time. In case if you need to modify any existing field, you can do this very easily. Just remove a value from a pick list, press Save, that's it, you're done. Instead of wasting 3 minutes of your time in Salesforce UI, you do the same stuff in 10 seconds in the IDE. If you're done with fields, you can navigate to the FRS tab, which will show you the field level security of all the fields in this object. This takes about 10 to 20 seconds to get the details from the organization. But once this is done, on the left side you will see all the fields in the object, and on top you will see all the profiles in the organization. And in the intersection cell, you will see in a couple of seconds the exact settings for the field level security. And here they are. So instead of doing the same stuff as the Salesforce UI with one-by-one profile or one-by-one field, you see everything at once. So if you want to make changes to for FLS, you just do this with your mouse, couple clicks, and you're done. If you want to make bow changes, okay, not a problem. You can do this from the Quick Actions panel and, for example, make the industry field read-only for everyone. Or, for example, forbid access to all the fields for Analytics Cloud user. Even more, if you've configured something pretty complex for a field or for a profile, you can right-click on any field or profile, select Bulk Apply option, and apply the same settings to multiple other fields. So instead of doing the same stuff twice or 5 times or 10 times, just press Apply and you're done.
Oh, great. We don't have time anymore, but I would like to stress that completely the same approach was created for the layout, editing, and management, for permission set assignment.
Yeah, so the same time, I even show this. So if you're working with permission sets assignments, the same way, the same approach. You don't need to do this manually. You see everything right here in the IDE.
Yeah, and we have hundreds and hundreds of cool and interesting features in IDE and have no possibility to show them right immediately, but maybe you have some questions and we will be able to show something per your requests.
So please feel free, guys, to ask questions in the questions pane, and we will be happy to answer any of them. In case we really encourage you to try out the Welkin Suite IDE for yourself, just navigate to our site and start your free trial for 30 days, and you will be able to investigate a lot of different features. And we have one of the questions, if the IDE is paid. So I believe that Rustam will answer it.
Yep, yes, it's paid, but I wouldn't say that it's paid. It's just almost a bit more than $10 per month. So you can, but anyway, you can easily download it for free and use it within a month of trial period, and then make a right decision to pay just two couple of coffees instead and use the Welkin Suite. Another question.
Hey, Apurv, I've unmuted you, so if you have questions, please feel free to ask them.
Hi, Actually, I have a couple of questions regarding this. There are two functionalities actually that are available in Welkin Suite. So the first one that you just showed, that you can group the components as per your own wish. Like you can create a folder, and in that folder you can put the components depending upon whatever group by condition that you have. So is it possible so that I can group multiple components into multiple folders as well?
Yes, great question. I think it's related to the custom folder structure. Yes, you can group everything that you want in any level of nested folders as you want. So that's completely the same as you organizing the files in file system. You can create any kind of folders, and here you can create any number of folders and mix any kind of files in them.
So I can duplicate my components in duplicate folders, right?
Yep, right.
That's great. And a second question that I have is that, let's say I'm refreshing my local repository from my Salesforce server, and in that case, one or two Apex classes or Visual Force page or Lightning components have certain kind of conflicts. So what would be the best way to solve those conflicts?
So in case if you are working, like, yeah, thank you for the question. It's a very interesting one because organizing the Git repository work with Salesforce is always a very tricky one. So in case of conflicts in the Git repository, we have the built-in merge tool, like we have the built-in the diff tool, so you are able to resolve your conflicts when working with Git branches right here in the IDE. At the same time, if you have any conflicts without using Git, but if for example, if at the same time someone changes the file on the sandbox and you change the same file on the sandbox, we won't allow you to overwrite each other's changes. We will again propose you to use our built-in merge tool to resolve your conflicts.
So that's when I'm using the Git repository via Welkin Suite.
So it's for both. Like if you're using the Git repository, in the Welkin Suite has built-in support for Git, and we will provide these options to resolve conflicts. If you do not use the Git repository, we are as well take care about you and won't allow you to overwrite each other's changes.
Okay, and if from server, if my local repository is in conflict, then also the merge tool will work.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So I can use this KDiff or some other kind of supported framework with this, and then I can just merge and see the difference and merge the codes, right?
Yep. So you said right. So we support Arachis merge, Beyond Compare, KDiff, and WinMerge. So you can use any of them to resolve all of your conflicts and make your life easier.
Sure, that would be the thanks. That would be enough at least for me.
Cool.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for questions. Okay, why we don't have any more questions for now? Like one important thing. So once you try it out yourself, guys, the very handy and useful information is available in the help menu. So once you press the help, you see the getting started item in the help menu. In this window, we have about 50 small videos. Each of them is about 10 to 20 seconds. So it's not long, it's not time consuming. And all of these videos are showing you the great features of the IDE. So in less than 15 minutes in general, you will see more than 50 different features of the IDE. So just try it out, download, spend a couple hours just to play with the IDE, to download your project, to start doing some changes, maybe to investigate this getting started window, and you will get to know how to really increase your performance, how to start doing more work, how to do this easier, better, faster, stronger.
Make more money within the Salesforce development. Okay,
so thank you very much, guys, for your time. I hope that you have the great rest of your evening and that you try it out, the IDE today or maybe tomorrow in the morning. And we are very happy to answer any of your questions afterwards. So if you have any of them, just go to our website, leave us questions on the forum, or navigate or email us. We'll answer all of the questions and we'll be happy to talk with anyone.
Mention us in Twitter. So yes, thank you guys and have a good day. Thank you.
Bye.